Facts that will change your perception of time. Joe Biden once served in Congress with 6 different people born in the 1800s. Bowhead whales can live for over 200 years, which means that there are likely whales in the ocean today that were alive during the Civil War. Harvard University did not offer calculus the first few years it was established because calculus had not been invented yet. Charlie Chaplin died the same year that Apple was incorporated. From the time Pluto was discovered to the time that Pluto lost its planet status, it hadn't even completed one orbit around the sun. It actually still hasn't. Pluto was discovered in 1930 and downgraded in 2006, 76 years later. It takes Pluto 248 years to orbit the sun, which means that it will not have made a full orbit around the sun until 2178. Follow for more. Interesting facts that will make you think. When people talk about traveling to the past, they worry about radically changing the present by doing something small. But barely anyone in the present thinks that they can radically change the future by doing something small. The person who invented audio recording probably thought it didn't work right when their voice sounded different. The best part of a cucumber kind of tastes like the worst part of a watermelon. An air conditioning repairman spends all day in buildings with no air conditioning. When it's fixed and finally cold, they leave. Security at every level of an airport is always taken very seriously. Until you get to baggage claim, because then it's just like take whatever bag you want. The amount of people older than you never gets bigger. When we're young, we sneak out of our houses to go to parties. When we're older, we sneak out of parties to go home. Follow for more. Maps that will change the way you see the world. This map shows GPS tracking of multiple wolf packs around a national park. It really shows how often wolves just avoid each other's territories. This map shows 20 different eagles that were tracked over a 1-year period. Notice how they constantly avoid water. This is a map of occupied bald eagle nests in Wisconsin in 1974 and 2019. This is how big Japan is compared to the east coast of the United States of America. 50% of all Canadians live south of that red line. These two areas of Africa have roughly the same amount of people. Each one of these sections contains 10% of the world population. These maps show the passenger railway networks as of 2020 in each of these countries. This is the longest possible way to travel by train in the entire world. Follow for more. Maps that will change the way you see the world. If did not vote was counted as a candidate in the 2020 US presidential election, it would have won with 278 electoral votes. Americans were asked to point where Iran is. All the green dots are the people who got it right, and the orange dots are the rest of the guesses. Iowa has 99 counties, and it could have been a clean 100 if this one up here just followed suit with the rest of them next to it. This is what the world could look like about 250 million years from now if no international borders changed. This was the Roman Empire, and this was the Mongol Empire at their biggest sizes ever. The red highlighted places are the only places in the world where you don't need a permit to buy a gun. Basically just most states in the United States and Yemen. Follow for more. Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. There are between 25 and 50 active serial killers in the United States at any given time, according to the FBI. If you live a full life, you're going to have shed over 100 pounds of your skin. Cruise ships are legally required to have morgues for the passengers that inevitably will die on each trip. A Nightmare on Elm Street was inspired by a true story. A boy was having disturbing nightmares and refused to sleep for multiple days. The same night that he succumbed to exhaustion, he died in his sleep, but not before screaming for help in the middle of the night because of his nightmares. If you try to grab the brain in its natural state, it will fall apart. When you see scientists pick up a brain, it's because they've used chemicals to harden it. There are still 40 million people worldwide that are slaves. 3 in 4 of those are women, and 1 in 4 are children. Follow for more. Facts that will mess with your perception of time. The last believed living former slave in America died 15 days after Disney World was open. We didn't know that a meteor killed the dinosaurs until 1991. That's around the same time that the movie Home Alone was in theaters. Starry Night was painted in the same year that Nintendo became a company. The first episode ever of Doctor Who was released the night after JFK's assassination. Harriet Tubman was still alive for another month after Rosa Parks was born. The first college football game was played only 4 years after the end of the Civil War. The Eastern Roman Empire fell only 40 years before Christopher Columbus landed in the Americas. This means that plenty of people who considered themselves Romans heard of the discovery of the New World. Follow for more. Disturbing facts that will ruin your day. Your bed can have up to 10 million dust mites. In ancient England, people used hollowed skulls as bowls and cups. In Kentucky, there is a museum that houses over 900 antique ventriloquist dolls. During World War II, Japan bombed China with fleas infected with the bubonic plague. Babies grow mustaches in the womb that then spread to grow hair on the entire body. They shed it before birth. During gladiator games at the Colosseum, members of the audience would rush into the field to ravage off the blood of the fallen gladiators. They believed that in drinking the blood of the fallen warriors that they would absorb their powers and skills. Follow for more. Maps that will change how you see the world. That young fox actually walked from Norway to Canada in a 4-month period in 2018. This is the map. This is how big Australia is compared to North America. This is what a map centered on Argentina looks like. These highlighted countries are the only countries that were mentioned in the Bible. These highlighted countries are the only places in the world that penguins are found naturally. This is a 3D topographic map of Europe. This was the map for a potential Europe-USA superhighway that was proposed by the former president of Russian Railways. This is what the surface of Mars would look like if 71% of its surface area was covered by water, just like Earth. Follow for more.